Hi, let's take a look at managing compliance assessment task 1, project 1, providing for children's comfort. So this particular assessment is where you're going to be actually designing a childcare environment. So it's an environment that's going to be safe and it's going to have a number of different play areas for children. So what you'll actually need to do before you start this assessment is actually do some pre-reading. So you can use the information in your Birth to Big School booklet, and it's actually got the chapter there that you can have a look at. So read through that, gather the information through that before you start the assessment. The assessment will actually be done either on this indoor environment template that we have here, which you can see is just a blank template. So if you want to choose this template, you can. However, if that doesn't work for you, you can use any A4 piece of paper to complete the drawing or the design of the indoor environment. So for the particular environment, it needs to be designed for 20 3 to 4-year-old children, and specifically looking at a long daycare service. So that's where you guys have been doing your placement. So you need to keep in mind when you're designing this room that it is for 3 to 4-year-olds and it is for 20 of them. So think about that when you're doing your play spaces. So you're going to include a whole heap of different things in your room design, and I want you to put in everything that would need to be there to run a room, but there are particular criteria that you must have in there that your assessor is going to be looking for. So your assessor is going to be looking that there's a dramatic play space, there's a block space, there's a books or library area or a quiet space, games and puzzles, so area for cognitive development, an art area, that there's a computer or a technology centre, and that there's space for small groups but also space for large groups. Now some of these may intertwine together, or some of you might have separate areas. So I really want you to think about the safety of the room, the flow of the room, the type of materials that you're going to have in there. So when you are doing your design or your drawing, it needs to be detailed. So if you're not particularly great at drawing really detailed pictures, you can also label. So write and label the different resources or areas that you've got. So for example, if you drew a box and you were writing that this was a shelf, then we would know exactly what it is that you're talking about. So it needs to be quite detailed, quite descriptive, and really clear what your room design is. Sometimes students decide to print out pictures off the web, so pictures of chairs, pictures of resources, and actually create a real visual, and that is okay as well. Once you've completed your actual design, then I want you to answer these questions from A to D, and you can do that on a Word document, or you can do that on your design sheet. If you're typing it up, you can then answer the rest of the questions here underneath that template. Or again, separately, you can do it on a Word document. So you have to actually identify the supervision points. You can do that with a cross or a circle on your actual design. You also have to discuss the types of active spaces you've created and the quiet spaces you've created. You also have to talk about how the room has been set up to allow children to engage in active and quiet spaces, and also how you're going to manage grouping in each of the learning areas. So these are all the learning areas. So please make sure you're discussing how you're going to limit numbers or prevent overcrowding. You also need to cover this one here that doesn't come under a letter, but it is a question. So how do you use boundaries and pathways as part of your design to make sure that the area is safe? So you need to do the design and make sure you're covering all of the points A, B, C, D, and this last one here as well. So once you've done that, you can upload and submit your assessment. Computer's not working for me today. So upload your file and send it through there. Alternatively, if you have done a design and you've drawn it yourself, you can get it scanned to you and you can upload it and submit that through to your assessor.